Hi everybody, it's crazy, it's Monday, and it's time for the FBGE video of the week. Now before I get started, let me give a shout out to my trusted, because you guys rock. You're my crazy dumb, I love you guys. Okay, so we're up to episode number 132 this week, and last week we left off with BGL, uh, OpenGL Wrapper. That's what we ended off with last week. We did have the file, but we haven't done anything with it, so yeah, you get to watch me babble on about this book. Okay, so here we go. Let's get started. All right, so this module is a wrapping of OpenGL constants and functions. It allows you to access low-level graphic resources within the game engine. You can use this module to draw directly to the screen or to read OpenGL matrices and buffers directly. Sometimes you will need to run OpenGL code specifically before or after the game engine drawing routine. So you can store your Python function as a list element, either in the scene attributes pre-draw and or in the post-draw. This will be demonstrated in our first example. Okay, so we're going to get off that one page here in just a minute. All right, so to learn OpenGL, you can find good OpenGL learning material on the internet or in a bookstore. The official guide to learning OpenGL, also known as the Red Book, is highly recommended, and some older versions of it can be found online for download. Okay, so being that this is an old book and they really haven't updated it, that Red Book is probably considered old. So if you find something similar or something newer, I would go with it because they have more of the features that are in it now they compared to weren't in it before. So that's one reason why I'm reading this book, because I'm using 0.2.79. This is actually based off 2.74. Okay, so either 4 or 6, I can't remember, but it was in 2.7 no matter what. It only had a little bit of changes, and 2.79 actually had some more refinements, hence why some of the programs didn't work. Okay, so go check it out, look it up online. Find an official guide to learning OpenGL if you really want to learn about it. Actually, it's something neat and interesting to get into. Um, uh, Blender uh, 3.0 up actually uses a lot of OpenGL, so you might want to get into that if you're planning on using the newer version of Blender. The older versions of Blender, not so much. It's more of a tinkering around with, because between 2.74 up to 2.79, which is the last 2.7 they made, is, really doesn't have a lot of OpenGL. It has some, and it was a lot of people were experimenting with it, so you'll get some experimental code. But just be aware that, yeah, there's a lot of newer stuff out. And if you're planning on going to the newer version of Blender or the newer version of a BGE, then you might want to, look for the newer version of OpenGL. Don't go with an older version, because there's going to be some features that are not going to be mentioned that are actually in the newer one. Okay. All right. So the example, yay! Now we're on to the example. Okay. So we're going to go to File, and I'm going to swing you back over to here so you can see. Okay, we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Open, and now we're in 6. Okay, sys_textures is the last one we left off with. We're going to click this little arrow button. We're going to go back, and we're going to go to 7_BGL. Okay, once you get into that, you're going to see which one we're doing. Yeah, line width. We're going to do this middle one right here. Maybe different on your system, but look for line_width.blend. We're going to open it up, and woo, look at that. We got some cubes. Okay, so we're gonna run it real quick just to show you that when we do run it, the lines get thicker, and you'll notice that they turned into triangles. Okay, that's what Blender and the game engine did, because it actually runs better in triangles than it does squares. Everybody thinks squares work best. Yeah, but no. Okay, you can actually do what they call quads. People like quads better, because it's easier to work with squares, but the engine itself is going to do tris. Okay, and they rather use triangles than anything else. So whenever you're doing your projects, it'd be a good thing to do them in triangles. But if you get to that point where you really can't do them in triangles and you have to use squares, go for it. Quads aren't bad, because the game engine will chop that into triangles for you. Okay, so don't worry about it if you're used to working with quads. It's okay. Okay, don't get too frustrated and say, oh man, I got to go to all triangles. No, the the game engine will actually convert it over for you. So don't worry about it. Just try not to do anything more than 4, because you try to do 5, and yeah, it gives you some issues. Okay, so as you see, it turns it into nice little thick lined squares. Okay, so it takes it out of that. All right, so I'm gonna read off a little bit, and I'm gonna take me a drink. Yeah, I talk too much. All right, so I'm gonna read off. You follow along with me right here. Okay, so it's from BGL import logic, import BGL line, define line underscore width, and then BGL dot GL line width, and it's gonna say 100. Scene equals logic dot get current scene, and then if line underscore width not in scene dot predraw, then you're gonna scene dot predraw dot append line width. Okay, so if it's saying if that line width is not in here, this little guy right here, okay, then you're going to actually put that 100 in the pre-draw. Okay, very simple, very simple code, very easy code, and it does something cute. It makes it to where your lines are thick. Okay, now you can change this value right here. Okay, I can put it at 50. Okay, look, we can input it at 50. Okay, and then we come up here and we hit play. Okay. Oh, I gotta save it. All right, let's do that first. I forgot how to save it. No, there we go. Okay, it's not gonna allow me to regular save, but if we hit Alt S, it should do it. Alt S. Okay, it was Alt S, wasn't it? Yeah. So it's not gonna redo it, but you can actually change that, save it, and then redo it, and it will actually shorten those lines. Okay, so needless to say, yeah, it's one of those things where you actually have to save the file, because not saving the file will not work. And you can make it really, really thick if you really wanted to. It's up to what you want to do it, but that line draw will come here. That number actually will go right here. So there you go. All right, so this code needs to run only once per frame, and will change the line width of the object. Be aware that the line is only drawn in the wireframe mode. You cannot change it to texture, you cannot change it to material or anything other, because if you hit play, no lines will be shown. Okay, because it is made to do the line thickness, so that way you can shine something on it. In, like, say if you're doing like a little walkthrough and you got little blocks that you can't walk on, you can actually turn them to wireframe. Okay, all right, so the next one is, you will find on the book files another example where the line width changes dynamically. So let's go to that one. Okay, so we're going to click on open, and we're going to go to this one right here called line width animate.blend. Okay, so it looks familiar, doesn't it? But now if you hit P, it gets thicker as time goes by, and then it goes back to normal size. So you can actually change it, okay, to a width that you want, and have it do it automatically. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Okay, which is basically the same, except for now you're using a timer and you're triggering the object. Okay, and then you're still going to do the line width, because you're changing the line width here. Okay, you're using a math in order to do it with a timer, and it gives it a certain amount of time before it goes to its maximum back down to its minimum. And then you're going to call the scene. You're going to have the logic timer. Okay, scene.object. You're going to do it on the cubes, and then if it's not there, you're going to put it there. Okay. All right, so now we're going to the third one. Woohoo! This is fun. We're going fast with these today. All right, so open, let's see here, color pickup blend, which is this one right here. Okay, and now we get something completely different, and we get a bit more code. Okay, so the more detailed you get, the more code you're going to use. And coding isn't bad, y'all. Give it a whirl. Okay, in this file, you can change the light color according to where you click. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about it, and I'm going to pick out some highlights. Okay, there are 3 important BGL methods being used here. The first one is bgl.buffer. Okay, so bgl.buffer is here. Okay, there's one there, and there is one here. 2 different BGL buffers. Okay, One is the viewport. That's this little guy right here. Okay, and the other is your pixels. Okay, so the first one, it creates space in the memory to be filled in with information taken from the graphics driver. Hence why it uses G up here, because you're using the logic from the graphics driver. Okay, the second one is the BGL.GL get integer V. Okay, so that's this little guy right here. Okay, we use it to get the current viewport position and dimension to the buffer object previously created. So it's going to get the information and it's going to put it here and to get this information and the other one I mentioned down here, okay, and put it into the viewport. The buffer coordinates run from the left bottom, say that 5 times fast, to the right top. Okay, so here of your screen, I'm gonna put it here so you can see it, but it actually goes past that, and then way up here. Okay, and then the let's see, the mouse coordinates on the other hand run from left top, okay, which is left top, okay, to bottom right width, which you won't see it because it's behind here. Okay, all right, so we need to convert the mouse coordinate position to the correspondent one in the buffer. So we need to make this system work with this system. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to use the X and the Y coordinates. Okay, and we're going to set them up like that. All right, so the third one is BGL.GL read pixels. That is, where are you at? I know you're in here. Okay, yeah, right down here. Okay, we're going to ask the BGL to look for read pixels. Okay, this is the method that's actually reading the pixel color and storing it in the other buffer object. Okay, so it is stuffing it in there. Okay, in this buffer object. Okay, all right, so and finally, let's apply the pixel color to the lamp, and you're going to get the pixel color, and a pixel color. Okay, so let's see where we at. We're at 12 minutes, so I'm going to leave it off there. We're ending it off on page 71. Let me kick back up. Oops, wrong one. Yeah. Ah! Oh, okay, so we're going to leave off with BLF font drawing for next week. It's not a big one, but we actually get to do a Hello World blend. If you want to get a little bit ahead of it, that's cool. But what I suggest is you go back through these 3 files that we did, okay, and tinker around with them, play around with their values. The only way you're going to learn about script writing and all that is to literally get into it, tinker around with it, mess it up, figure it out, re-download it, redo it again, and mess it up again. Okay, I learned something when I was a kid that I used to take old radios apart, just to see how they worked. Ooh, what's this little thing? And I ripped it right out. It can't go back when you rip solder joints. So yeah, you couldn't make it work again. I learned that you don't rip out, the components. So I bought a soldering pencil because I learned that if you have a soldering pencil, you can take that solder loose. And as you took that solder loose, you can put it back. So I learned how to change out components. And as you learn stuff, if you're doing it hands-on, you're actually learning faster. So that's why if you look at a lot of videos where people are showing you, in the video and you're doing it yourself, it actually helps you to learn. And tinkering with it. Folks, tinker with it. It ain't going to hurt it none. As long as you're not tinkering with the actual file, save it as a 1 or a 2 or a 5, whatever number you want to put it behind it, save it as a different file, tinker on that file, mess it all up, and then go back to your original file and see why you messed it up and how you messed it up. And it's what they call troubleshooting. You're going to figure out where you messed up. And when you figure out where you messed up, you won't actually do that again. You'll go, oh, wait a minute, you know what? Last time I changed the viewport and changed it, non-viewport, it didn't work. Why? Well, you look back at the original. Well, you have to change all the viewports. Why would I want to do that? So I'm going to leave that alone. Well, I can change the 0 to a 1. What does that do? As you go through that, you'll learn more about it. Okay, so continue with that, folks. That's it. No matter if you're doing it in Blender, UPBGE, Unreal, Godot, whatever program language you do, or learn or want to learn, you're going to have to learn how to make mistakes and fix them. Troubleshooting 101. Okay. With that, I'm debating, okay, for next week. I'm thinking to either going to Fridays or Mondays for the video of the weeks, because my schedule at work has shifted, and Mondays are a little bit more trying for me to try to get my videos out. It's been a little bit rougher and rougher, and I've been noticing that I've been, forgetting from time to time because I've got so much going on my plate. I rush home, I'm trying to do the video, and yeah, it just becomes a pain. So, with that being said, I'm thinking about going Fridays or Sundays. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Sundays if that'd be good for my audience. If y'all can wait to watch it till Monday if you'd like, but I will be posting it on my Discord on Sundays instead of Mondays, or Fridays instead of Mondays. So, let me know in the description, or not in the description, but in the comments below, if you think that's a good idea, bad idea, or if you would like Fridays or Sundays. Like I said, I'm leaning a bit more towards Sundays. If I don't get no answers, I'm just going to pick, one and go with it. Hope to God, hey, I don't anger anybody. But I'm going to shift it to either Fridays or Sundays. And in that, next week's video will either be Friday or Sunday. Okay, so if you get a notification of a video on Friday, then the mass consensus has went with Fridays. If you get one on Sunday, it's a mass consensus went to Sunday. I also will be having it in my Discord group. If you're in my Discord group, hey, give me a shout out in there and say, hey, I'd like to have Fridays, or I'd like to have Sundays, or hey, why the heck are you getting rid of Mondays? Okay. So give me your opinion in our Discord. If you don't are not on my Discord page, hey, drop it right there in the description and look. You will see that I had updated it. It's actually one where people can come in. When you do, if you're not a spammer, okay, and try to mess with people, you have to have a little bit of authentication. If you can't get in or you're having difficulties, give me a shout. Send me a PM. Or a message. Just send me a message or drop it in Discord. Hey, I got into your server, but I had a problem trying to get it. I will see you in there, and I will help you out with it if you're a genuine person, and if you would like to genuinely join my Discord server. Okay. On the other hand, if you'd like to drop a comment, I'd love a comment. I've never asked for likes and subscribes. I never, well, I won't say I never will. I just did. But if you're imposed on that, that's fine. If you want to give me a thumbs up, hey, that's cool. If you want to give me a thumbs down, that's cool too. I mean, that's how we learn. If you like my channel, that's cool. If you don't, hey, sorry about you not being here anymore. But if you'd like to become part of my little group of people, family I call them, or if you'd like to become part of my Blender game group. No, not Blender game group. Crazy Games group. Join me on my server and say hi, and you'll hear me talk about a lot of stuff on there that I don't actually talk to you about on my videos, because a lot of that is point of view at that time, and I have a lot of good people on my channel. Also, there is links in my description for the UPBGE servers, Blender servers. A lot of good artists that I recognize, and I look up to them because they do such good work. One of them is actually in my server. Actually, two of them are in my server. Three of them, four of them. Quite a few of them are in my server. And I look at them because I give them recognition here because they do so well. I love their artistry styles. I love how they work. I enjoy talking with them and working with them. There are also other ones that are on there that I give kudos to that I haven't talked to in a while, but they're still good people. They do good work, and they will talk to you and help you out throughout a problem. Okay, so check out some of the links in my description. You'll see some really cool stuff. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there with that. I've babbled on long enough, an extra, couple of minutes there. So, till next week, it'll be Friday or Sunday. Till then.